There is nothing I love in this world more than a good plot twist, and these are my top 10. In 10th place, I have The Sixth Sense. I think that M. Night Shyamalan is the king of plot twists, and this is hands down his best one. And I just love those plot twist movies where when you watch it back, knowing the twist, it's like so glaringly obvious, it's basically smacking you in the face, but you didn't notice it. There's going to be spoilers in this one, by the way, because I'm probably going to say in most of them what the plot twist is. This is not the first movie to do the main character's been dead the whole time, but it did it really fucking well. In 9th place, I have You're Next. When you realize that the kids have been in on this the whole time. The kids are the ones that fucking orchestrated this. It's shocking, it's infuriating, and at first you just think it's the couple, but then you find out that Crispin's in on it. Fuck them kids. Next up is Triangle. People might not get this one if you've only watched this movie like one time. I've done a full breakdown of this movie on my podcast because I fucking love it so much. But when you watch it and you realize that the moment that she is trapped in this inescapable loop is because she died and she's in hell or purgatory, whichever one you want to believe. And the triangle represents how there's 3 versions of her living at any given time in this continuous loop. Mind-boggling, earth-shattering. In 7th place, I have an underrated classic, Carnival of Souls from 1962. This might actually be the first movie that did the main character was dead the whole time. If there's another one before this, please let me know, but as far as I'm concerned, this is the first one. So this paved the way for movies like The Sixth Sense, The Others, and this one held up because even watching it for the first time now, like modern day, it still caught me off guard. In 6th place, I have Orphan. The first time I watched this movie, it shook me to my core. I did not see that plot twist coming whatsoever. And like, what a well done twist, because it's not a crazy kid, it's a crazy adult who has dwarfism and looks like a kid. Like, who would have ever seen that coming? In 5th place, I have another movie that I've done a full breakdown of on my podcast because there is so much like hidden meaning and underlying symbolism in this movie that's just like not picked up on the first watch. This is another one like The Sixth Sense where when you watch it back, it's so glaringly obvious that Addie is not Addie, or that she was the tethered Addie and they switched places. But watching it that first time, I had no fucking idea. And it was so shattering once you find out, and you find out that that is the root as to why this whole thing is happening. Jordan Peele, 10 out of 10. In 4th place, I have Incident in a Ghostland. I can wholeheartedly say that this plot twist is by far the most defeating and numbing one on this whole list and possibly ever. When you find out that those girls did not make it out and their mother died, and she is literally just imagining an adult life as a fucking coping mechanism and a way of dissociating, and they are still trapped in this hellish scape. I've never felt so numb and defeated in my fucking life. My God, what a movie. Same guy that made Martyrs. In 3rd place, I have Saw. If you asked me which movie on this list, if I had to pick one, would I erase my memory of to rewatch again, I think it might be Saw. When that body that you thought was a dead body in the middle of the room stands up and you figure out that that has been Jigsaw the whole time, I truly can say that I think my heart skipped like 3 whole beats. I would honestly give anything to watch this again and be able to experience that amount of shock, because there's not many movies that have given me that much shock in my life. In 2nd place, I have the most classic horror movie and my personal favorite horror movie ever made, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. I think this is one where most people know the plot twist even if you haven't watched this movie, but I can honestly say that the first time I watched this movie when I was probably like 12 or 13 years old, I didn't know. I truly had no idea. So when that moment of realization hits, I can remember where I was. I can remember what I was wearing. The first time I ever watched this movie was a pivotal moment in my life, and that's why it's my favorite. And this is the first time that the whole like, oh, this person just has dissociative identity disorder, obviously not called that at the time, it was called split personalities, but like the villain's been them the whole time, the person that you didn't expect. That paved the way for movies like Identity, High Tension, Hide and Seek, and also one of my personal favorite books, The Last House on Needless Street, that I think did it way more tastefully than any of the previous examples. But in 1st place, I have not a movie, but a show, and my favorite show of all time. I am in a very deep Haunting of Hill House rabbit hole right now because I am doing a deep dive of this to cover it on my podcast. And I'm doing a 4-parter, so it's literally been a month long of just Haunting of Hill House lore for me. So maybe that's why I'm putting this as number 1, but I might still have done that otherwise. Because there's not just one plot twist in this show, the whole show itself is a fucking plot twist. But this is another one like Saw. I truly wish I could rewatch this for the first time, because that moment when you realize that Nell is the bent neck lady, and the ghost that's been haunting her has been her the whole time is so... It's like a slap in the fucking face. Literally feels like a shot to the heart. And then you have the plot twist about the Red Room. Like they've all been in the Red Room the whole time and it was just something different for everybody. And so many more. This show is just full of twists and turns and it is so beautifully written, so beautifully done. It's honestly the greatest thing ever made, possibly.